That's my synagogue, Young Israel of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. We have lots of members, people of all ages, and a full schedule of activities in any given week. We have a few rabbis, and they're the greatest. Sometimes we even have rabbis who visit for the weekend as scholars and residents. But then along came this virus, and with it, self-isolation, quarantine, and for some reason, a major toilet paper shortage. But I digress. So we tried to move all of our classes and activities online, and people seemed to like it. But I was thinking, what if we got some of our rabbis together, perhaps even the occasional guest, once a week, just to shoot the breeze and maybe joke around a little? I'm Avi Fryer, and this is Rabbis in Quarantine Getting Coffee. All right, got a big correction to all that. I am still Avi Fryer, but we're getting wine, and this is Rebbetzins in Quarantine Getting Wine. I'd like to introduce our panel of Rebbetzins. Let me unmute everyone. And who do we have? We have our Young Israel of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. She's more than just a bookkeeper. I mean, of course, she makes sure that all the checks get paid and stuff like that. But she's also a mommy of 3 little ones, which is no small achievement. And she is the Rebbetzin of Rabbi Moshe Nachbar, who is one of our esteemed rabbis at Young Israel of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. That is Shira Nachbar. Yes. I don't hear you clapping. I only see you clapping. So let's make sure your audio is working. Say hello. Naama Parnas, say hello real quick. No, I'm not hearing you. All right, we'll have to work on that. We'll see what's going on there. And next we have our executive director, Young Israel of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. She is also a Rebbetzin and also a teacher of Taharat HaMishpacha, like for 20 years now. And that is Rebbetzin Riva Hamnick. And
Hi, everybody.
One more.
Sound doesn't work.
And we have a very special guest, Naam Parnas at Shari Bina. She is a teacher and the director of student life, which is also known as the Tznius Police, and we'll talk about the Parnas Twitch. And she runs classes for the Kollel, where her husband is the Rosh Kollel, the Hollywood Community Kollel, that has also taken all of its classes online, like so many of us have, Rebbetzin Naama Parnas. And so I like to get things started talking about this word, this some think evil word of, whoops, let's just get that sound off there. This evil word of Rebbetzin. I'll tell you a story. I have a friend, I got permission, ladies, I told you that I might talk about this. I got permission to discuss it. A friend who lives here in Hollywood, her name is Jessica Wasserstrom. Those of you who know her, you might not know her, you might know her, you might know her husband, Keith Wasserstrom, who has smicha. And during the time that he got smicha, he was also a Hollywood city commissioner. And when he got his smicha, I once called Jessica Rebbetzin, and she did not like that title very much. She said to me, oh, no. You don't get a title just by marrying someone. And so I didn't call her Rebbetzin ever again, but because her husband was city commissioner, every once in a while, just to get under her skin, I would call her Commissioner Tzin, which evoked an almost violent reaction sometimes, but most of the time it just got a laugh. So ladies, and I think I have my own view on this, but I'd like to know how you feel about this title of Rebbetzin. Do you earn it or do you just marry it? What's the deal? Anyone, feel free.
Okay, I'll start. I don't love it. I actually told people to start calling me Rebbetzin because not that I'm such a rebel, but I'm just definitely not like, your Rebbetzin, your average Rebbetzin. I definitely am more on the Rebbetzin side, but not, I'm happy to be a frum woman. I just am definitely not your Rebbetzin. And if you're looking at me as your Rebbetzin, I think you have some other, you got to find someone else. That's just my take on it, at least.
Okay.
I think also sometimes
So I think that's a great answer.
Reva's freezing again.
Who's freezing? Who's
It's
freezing?
you
You
gotta
or me?
remember. You're going to go to that other part of your house where the internet is better. But Naama, what were you saying?
I was saying that a lot of times people use the word Rebbetzin because they forgot your name. It's sort of like that sweetheart thing. Rebbetzin seems like a very safe title. You're not offending someone because you're actually giving them extra honor. So I used to get a little offended, like I'm not a Rebbetzin, I'm too young to be a Rebbetzin. But now I think they're just using it. They just don't remember my name. They don't remember how they know me. Do they know me from this school? Do they know me for that school? Safe, just say Rebbetzin. But it has to be pronounced correctly because we once had, when we used to live in Ohio, Riva, in the olden days when we were both in Ohio, there was a person who called me Rebbetzin. It was very off-putting. Rebbetzin.
Isn't that the meat company?
It was something, but it was certainly not my name.
No, I think that's why we have a coronavirus, because of a bunch of bats. So I don't.
Rebbetzin. It's like Batman.
Exactly.
You're saying it's like when I see somebody, I'm like, hey, buddy.
Right.
Hey, I don't know who you are. So, okay, so before I'll admit something that I've never actually come right out and said on this show before. That before each show, each week, one of the things I do is I look at the things we're going to be talking about and I try to Google jokes about that thing just to find funny things to talk about. So today, after we had a little pre-show meeting just to talk about a few things that we might be talking about, not too much in detail. And afterwards, I Googled Rebbetzin jokes. So all of them were either, there aren't very many, I'll tell you that. All of them were either terribly inappropriate or the hit when you do the Google search. The second hit that comes up is an article on Chabad.org of why Rebbetzin jokes are completely off limits. And with my ADHD, I did not read the whole article, but I did skip to the end, and it ended with something about how a Rebbetzin is more of a regal kind of thing. And that got me thinking, if a lady marries a prince, she becomes a princess. So perhaps the Rebbetzin title is one of royalty, and that's why you're able to marry into it. Do you like that?
I like that very much. And I think that I have to, because I walked my computer to a better spot, my wine is over there, so I will eventually get up and get it. But I do agree that it is a regalness, but I'll never forget Rabbi Davis saying to me, I'm a rabbi because I married a Rebbetzin. So that's when it really hit me that he is who he is because Meira is such a beautiful Rebbetzin. Rebbetzin never offended me. As a Baal Tshuva, I actually wore it as a badge of honor. And then in all due respect, I've been teaching Taras Mishpacha 30 years. So I've been a Rebbetzin 30 years since I've been.
I was trying to make you younger.
Thank you. Well, I was 2 when I started teaching, so it's good. But I do think it's a badge of honor, and it's not necessarily because your husband is who he is, but I think that if you married a king, you can be a queen. If you married a prince, you should be a princess. And if you married a rabbi, you should be a Rebbetzin with pride. But it does take you have some achrayut to that. And it is a job, and I think that I
don't get paid for.
Right.
That's why I'm not interested.
Right. So I enlisted, and I am proud to be a teacher and a Rebbetzin. So I do wear it with pride, and I don't look at that as some kind of like, oh, my husband got the title, so they threw it to me b'diavad. No, I carry it with pride.
All right. Well, I have to tell you, Shira, Jane, I don't know what her name is. It just says Jane Defecation on YouTube. That's her username. She seems to disagree with what you said. She says, Shira is a wonderful Rebbetzin. Love Webs.
Jane, you're embarrassing me.
Love Webs. Who's Webs? Oh, you know who this is.
No. Webs? I've never heard of that. Like
okay, well, that's what it says. She's going to have to tell us more. So let's talk about Rebbetzins without borders. There are no limitations. We just said it's a job. It's not just it's not just a name you get. What are the things that you have to do? Like, how about now? Naama, 15-minute breaks, is that it?
Absolutely. Because what happens is that this is not just Rebbetzins. This is just, I think, anyone in this situation. It used to be you would go to your job. And when you're at your job, it's great. You know, you are completely engrossed in that job and you don't have to worry about what's going on at home. Now I'm doing Zoom classes with 15-minute breaks. In that 15 minutes, you have to time yourself. Transfer the laundry. If you could put the load of laundry in before the class, then you could catch it at the end of the class. And pasta takes 9 minutes. So you got to put the water up. And I find that you're really jumping. Being at home, while it's a plus, is also very, very hard, but there's no boundaries and no borders about what you've got to do. Quickly put up pasta, quickly get ready for lunch, quickly do this, quickly do that, because we're doing so many things right now. We're being the moms, the social workers, the teachers, the cooks, I don't know, what's that whole list of all the things that we're doing now? And we're trying to be positive, and we can't hit the wine until that night, which is very hard to be positive and upbeat the whole day.
We can't admit that we hit the wine before the night, but we can technically hit the wine earlier in the day.
Well, we're gonna talk about the alcohol. I'm discovering an underlying alcohol problem within the Rebbetzins of our community, just from the research I've done for this show. But we'll talk about that soon. So this has borne some trends. We're doing all sorts of things that we never did before. Shira, like what have
Yeah, I'm doing all of the trends right now. I'm doing the coffee, the whipped coffee. That's a huge trend. I'm making that like 3 times a day so that I have energy to entertain and teach and feed my children all day long. We did the tie-dye. My whole family did the tie-dye. I'm on TikTok, an unhealthy amount that I shouldn't admit here.
How much unhealthy amount? What are we talking?
What? How often I'm on TikTok?
What's
like anytime I'm not around my children, I'm on TikTok. I'm watching it. I'm making TikToks. I actually don't know how to stop. I'm thinking about like reaching out to a teenager and asking them like, is this normal? Like, should I be on TikTok this much? Because like, I know it's a teenage thing, but
I think, wait, hold on. I have to stop you because we talked about this earlier and you said, oh, I'm on TikTok. Like I'm thinking you're watching TikTok.
No.
Because you're making TikToks.
I've made hundreds of TikToks.
Okay. I need to know what's your TikTok username?
Mrs.Nach. I mean, I'm not doing any of the dances. Like I am a Rebbetzin, mind you, a Rebbetzin, whatever, but I make a lot of TikToks. They're all on my Instagram also. It's an unhealthy obsession. I don't know how to stop it. Like
I just shared this. I just shared this in the chat, just in case any of our listeners, we have 86 right now. Any of our viewers want to log in and find Mrs.Nach. It's mrs.nh.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's Mrs.Nach, and I can't get off of it. I don't know.
Okay, and you know what? Your children are not old enough to be embarrassed by this.
No, but like they've done like the most sneeze dances on it, you know, like I don't know if nobody here is gonna know what dance I'm talking about, but there's a dance where you barely move. They've done that dance because I taught it to them because I'm like, guys, there's this thing, TikTok. And they're like, Mom, go away. I'm in the middle of Zoom class. And I'm like, I am losing everything that I think is normal.
And Janification, who still hasn't identified who she is saying that Mrs.Nach will definitely become viral on TikTok. There's no question whatsoever. Naama, what were you saying?
My kids just came in, they whispered, TikTok is on social media. You do dances. I'm like, yeah. I know.
TikTok. Right. TikTok, not like talk, like TALK, TikTok.
Okay. Can you bring them back in? Bring them back in real quick and ask them how they react if you were on TikTok.
Well, they're not in this room right now.
Okay. All right.
I have 2 children.
Yeah.
I have 2 children. One is 17 and one is in Shidduchim. And they said, if you even think of going on TikTok, you are so dead. So like, I don't even have an option of going on TikTok and dancing and, having a good time because I will be dead. So it all depends on the age of your kids.
For sure.
Okay. So, I brought them in.
Okay.
Bobby wants to know.
What's the question?
All right. Yeah. If your mother goes on TikTok and she makes an account and she starts recording videos, do you jump into a hole in the earth or what? What's your response to
I
this?
would look for an adoption agency immediately.
Adoption agency immediately. Okay. There you have it.
My kids will sign up with you.
Yeah, my kids don't know how uncool it is that I'm on TikTok 24/7. They're still
Right. They're young
listening.
enough.
Yeah.
They're young enough. It makes sense.
They're like, mommy has a new friend. Her name is TikTok. She spends a lot of time with her. We don't know anything
Yes.
else about that.
And she teaches mommy how to dance.
And Naama and I are in a different genre, and Naama's kids and our kids are going to disown us and go for adoption agencies.
We're embarrassing. Reva, we're at the embarrassing stage.
I've been there
Oh.
for like 15 years. It's already enough.
I'm totally at the embarrassing stage, but fortunately my kids are used to it already. It's like,
Yeah, 4 times an Avi Fryer youth director. That's kind of, getting.
no, you know how you get calluses on your hands if you like use a certain tool frequently? For my kids, they have calluses on the embarrassment part of their brains that reacts to me. They've just, it doesn't even affect them anymore. But as
You hope.
talking,
You hope.
Oh.
You hope it doesn't. embarrass you.
exactly. As long as we're talking about learning new things and teaching new things. And Shira, I understand you've had quite an interesting experience as a Rebbetzin, a different job that most Rebbetzins don't take on.
Yeah, so I decided to take on a chesed project. It's kind of like a passion project of mine. I purchased 2 bicycles for my children, and my kids are 8, 6, and almost 3. And so I taught my 8-year-old, she got it in a day. I taught my 6-year-old, got it in less than a day. And I finally approached the other person that I've been meaning to teach how to ride a bike for 10 years now. And I won't say who it is. I don't want to embarrass him. It's my spouse, but I'm not going to say who it is. And he didn't take to it as easily. And it's harder, I guess, to learn how to ride a bike as an adult. And the site was, I mean, all the neighbors were outside peeking in the windows, and all the adults came running outside trying to give me tips like, you need to get him to balance. I'm like, oh, that's what I need to do to get him to ride a bike. Like, thank you. Oh, if only I just taught him how to balance. And basically my 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old who still can't wipe herself fully has got it. And my husband, who's a 32-year-old, it's just really hard as an adult. I don't know if anyone has any tips, but it's also like dehumanizing and like emasculating. It's like he's ready to give up, but he also is just like, if my 5.5-year-old can do it, I should be able to do it. So we put on a community show basically for the community where everyone was just watching us scream at each other a lot. There was a lot of screaming. There were a lot of injuries. There was blood.
Please tell me videos of this are available on TikTok at Mrs.Nach.
You got to follow me to find out. No, I'm joking. There are videos. I haven't publicized them because they have inappropriate language because things escalated very fast. Not the bike, our tempers. And it was uncomfortable. So I can't put them on public. But
so while we're on the subject of uncomfortable, I just want you to know that I know who this person is. Dina Stay has commented.
She also doesn't know how to ride a bike.
No, but she says, "Don't worry, Shira. You have an embarrassed little sister. If not your children, at least your sister is embarrassed." And Mesh Stamen, I don't know if you know him. He says, "If your kids disown you, don't worry about it. You save a bundle on weddings."
Oh,
so this could be a good thing. At least Riva and Naama, and
Absolutely.
And Joyce Ben Ezra says, this must be a generational thing. What is TikTok? And it truly is a generational thing because she misspelled TikTok and put it as 2 words. So yes, it's a generational thing. Joyce, stay away from TikTok. It will only embarrass your grandchildren. So, so the other trend that we see are these, they call them challenges, but it's really just like name stuff. And these kind of things have Shira up all night creating, I called it quarantine insomnia. And Shira said that they're actually called mombies, that moms become zombies, right?
Yeah, quiet time in your house between the times of 8 o'clock and 4 a.m. is just so precious these days. Like my kids, I used to be able to tolerate them for the 3 hours a day that I'd see them. And now it's like, I see them for like 12 hours a day. And I'm like, no, I didn't know that I was going to have to see you for 12 to 15 hours a day. And like, you got to get out of here. So now my quiet time is when they're sleeping and when I'm supposed to be sleeping. And then I'm a miserable human the next day while I'm trying to arrange all their Zoom classes. And it's just this like horrible cycle, honestly. Can someone help me?
I don't know. Let's see if people can post in the comments. I want to get to a question Naama raised today, which is, what is the quarantine dress code?
So unless you're teaching Zoom, you're in pajamas, I think.
Well, I mean, you don't know. We might all be in pajamas now, just not the part that's visible on the screen.
That's given. That's a given. That's a given.
Right. I mean,
I'm like in my running clothes all day long with a bandana and my running clothes and no makeup and no nothing all day long, throwing in a load of laundry, going to the canal, throwing in another load of laundry. And Avram has to show up in a button-down shirt. Now, nobody has to know what's waist and down. So like we're all faking it, but he's sitting in the kitchen and unless he moves his laptop, they're going to catch me either with my hair uncovered or whatever. I'm like, Avram, move your laptop. I need a cup of coffee. And I have to get the hot water heater. Like, because he's in my kitchen and my daughter is over here and my husband's in his office. And like your whole house is overtaken by Zoom and you don't know where you're walking. And I don't know about everybody, but I don't cover my hair 24/7 in my house. So like, I have to I'm walking into hotbeds of problems where I can't get a cup of coffee because my hair's uncovered. It's a problem.
Well, wasn't there a time?
Times that your daughter has seen me in my pajamas because Riva's daughter is my daughter's teacher. And every time I have to go in there and fix something, I'm like, well, the whole freaking class is now seeing me like this. And it's like not pretty. And it's just so embarrassing, but it is what it is.
Well,
the world is coming to our house.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what's all changed because it used to be the internet was usser and no one should have, their kids should not be allowed to have devices. And now all parents have turned into Oprah Winfrey. You get an iPad and you get an iPad and you get a laptop and what's happening at Shari Bina with this? Every girl has a device that never had before?
I think most of our girls were already technologically savvy. They all were already, our computer program is very, what's the word? Sophisticated. They've all been on, so most of them have had, and we actually, our staff, our administration knew this was coming a little bit. I don't know how, I guess connections to TNEC or connections up north. And the week before we had a trial Zoom. And that was really good. Anyone needs extra. The school has some Kindles that they could lend out. So everyone has an iPad. But it's very funny, as we saw with Riva earlier, because I didn't realize that my name is because you logged in. So if you're using someone else's laptop, so you could tell who's using whose laptop. I was once I know this might be another topic that we're talking about, on a birthday party, and I was using my son's laptop, and I did not realize that he had titled himself The Creep from Albany, which is a literary reference to a Gordon Corman book, The Creep from Albany. And the people in the waiting room kept on saying, who is this? Who is this? And I kept on saying, Mrs. Parnas, Mrs. Parnas. And they were like, but who's the creep from Albany?
It's me, I'm the creep.
I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Right, and Moshe Nachbar can identify with this because at the very beginning of this call, before we went live, Shira logged on and it said Moshe Nachbar, and I said, do you want to change the name? And Moshe came up and he said, no. I'm going to log her out and log her back in as herself because God forbid he forgets to change it back. And then he logs on tomorrow and everybody's like, hi, Shira Nachbar.
He's like wearing my shaitel and like all of a sudden he's me with like my
exactly.
And
we can't have that. But getting back to dress code, we talked about the quarantine dress code, and we know that in these days, there are 2 days of the week. There is Shabbos and not Shabbos. So what is the Shabbos in quarantine dress code? Is that the same as Shabbos dress code before?
Literally exactly my regular dress code. I don't personally change.
Tie-dye sweatshirt
That I made myself.
that you made yourself in
Trendy.
quarantine.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. What's interesting is like I have to like turn over and say to my husband, it's Shabbos. Don't touch the light in the bathroom. It's Shabbos, because I think that days are starting to like blend all together. And so he gets up and goes, oh, thank you for telling me what day of the week it is. And
Right.
then like getting my son up, we started the first week of, we're going to daven the same time as the shul. That not only didn't last the first week, it's not been going bichlal. Like my husband has a great voice. He lanes. Okay. He's laning at 12 o'clock. Okay. Like
Isn't that
I'm
the
having
same
my
time as
first
the
or
show?
second glass of wine at 12 o'clock. He's laning at 12 o'clock. He's doing, he's doing Haftorah at 12:22. Like everything is just like so off, and like everything is like blending together. My friend, called me from Israel and going, I don't remember the last time I put on a sheitel. Like, do we put on makeup? It's weird. It's like Bizarroville. Bizarro. Shabbos. I have to remind everybody, don't flip the switch on the lights because it's Shabbos.
So before I ask the next thing I was going to ask about Shabbos, I just want to tell you, Shira, that you have total absolution from your daughter's teacher, Mrs. Heisler.
Hi, Mrs. Heisler.
That would
Sorry
be
about
I don't know if she's on. Is she on? Avi, is she on?
Hamnik Heisler is watching, and she said, don't worry, I teach in Crocs every day.
Still better than what I'm wearing when I come to fix the Zoom or the audio or whatever it is, but okay, fine.
Actually, that reminds me, I said at the beginning, we were gonna talk about what the Parnas Twitch is.
Oh, yes.
You didn't get to talk about that. What's the Parnas Twitch?
The Parnas Twitch is that little twitch that my girls, who I love so much, have to adjust their skirts or shirts as soon as they see me. They love me and they don't want to disappoint me ever. And therefore, as soon as they see me, they start twitching with their clothes. They called it, they copyrighted it, the Parnas Twitch. They made a song about it. And they just adjust their shirts and adjust their skirts. But also I wanted to go back for a minute that we created Shabbos masks.
Ooh.
I'm joking.
Oh.
Oh, I thought there was
I
something
did
special.
have special Shabbos masks. though.
Wouldn't that be a smart thing? You could have like an everyday mask and then a Shabbos mask for when you go
Nice.
outside.
That's a good idea.
I like that.
Some-
It's beautiful.
Some gold embroidery around it, like the old velvet challah cover.
Lekavit Shabbos Kodesh, you would say on it.
LeCovid Shabbos.
Oh.
Ah.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. So speaking of Shabbos, this is that alcohol issue that I was talking about earlier. We know that in many,
What alcohol issue?
I know,
Talking
Rita.
about Avi Pryor.
Yeah, I should point out that when I need a refill, that when I named the show, Rebbetzins in Quarantine Getting Wine, it was Riva Hamnik I was thinking of, because a lot of people drink alcohol, but Riva loves her wine. If you want to get a gift for Riva, you get her a nice bottle of wine, or get her a nice wine accessory, something like that, right? But I think there's a little bit of underlying alcoholism that's surfacing in everyone.
Definitely.
Let's see, I'll start with Shira. Is something going on Friday night your kids don't know about?
I don't know.
The alcohol? I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about
I
anything.
don't think it's Friday night. I think it's really like every night, like when they go
Every night.
I think it's just every night. It's like either we make like frozen margaritas I'm not a wine person, but like I am now. Like I was never, but now I am. I don't even like enjoy it. It numbs my pain so nicely. The pain that this quarantine has caused me, the aggravations, makes me more tolerable.
So your kids think you're having smoothies.
Yeah, they actually hear the blender going and they're really upset. They're like, you didn't make us smoothies today. I'm like, these are not your kind of smoothies. These have tequila in them. I don't think, but then again, I've never tried it on them. Maybe it would make them more tolerable. I don't know. Maybe I should try it.
So, and this has earned you the alcohol has earned you the nickname. What is it? The
late night nachbar. I'm
late night
literally
nachbars.
At all hours of the night. I'm watching Tiger King. I'm watching, I don't know, Netflix, Hulu, you name it. I just don't sleep anymore because that nice quiet time where I'm ensconced in my alcohol and with my Netflix, and it's so quiet in my house and nobody's bothering me. It's like really glorious, honestly.
Right. And Riva, tell us about how the wine has figured into the quarantine.
So I have made it a definite, like, I'm committed to not saying it's 5 o'clock anywhere or everywhere because I would start at 9 a.m. So I make sure that it's 5 p.m. in Florida in order not to completely overindulge. So therefore I open my bottle of wine and I make dinner for my family and I try to stay like sober long enough before it's like sort of bedtime.
So any Young Israel of Hollywood board members who are watching, you should know that until 5 p.m., Riva is completely dry.
And you can call me, text me, email me, and then at 5:03, screw you. I mean, sorry.
At 5:03, she becomes, I made up a new word today, she becomes an alcoholic. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Stanley Herzik says he wants to see Riva chug. You don't have to do that. I'm just telling you what he says. He also tells us that on Shabbos, he wears his black shorts, black sandals, and white button-down shirts.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't tell us what he wears on all other days. And now let's get to the party parnassus.
Well, part of the supper menu, I like to put up the menu at the beginning of the week so the kids know what we're having. Part of the menu, and I'm blaming my teenage boys on this, to help them get through this. We have added a little bit, let's just say a little bit of alcohol to every single dinner without fail. And I've discovered such interesting things, such great mixtures, different things that you could mix. And yeah, it's been very helpful. Very helpful.
Selena Ravinsky has just renamed this show Rebbetzins in Rehab. And I'm pretty sure we're all going to do this is over.
But actually, ask her if we have to wear a mask when we go to rehab.
I don't know. She'll tell us, but we're on a slight delay, so she didn't hear the question yet. She will. But I actually, we weren't going to talk about this, so I didn't have it in front of me. But I had a post about a drinking game for COVID-19 that I think it probably is a good time to share. Let's see where it is. Here we go. It's on my profile. Now you have to have a TV in order to play this. So I know that not everybody qualifies, but what you do is you watch TV and during the commercials, you take a shot every time you hear any of these phrases. In these uncertain times, we're in this together. We're here for you. Stay home or stay safe. 2 shots if you hear both in one sentence. We're stronger than this. Alone together, contactless pickup and delivery, and unprecedented. If you're playing this game, you will need rehab much more than the Rebbetzins in rehab that Selena refers to.
Okay, you'd be completely drunk by the time the show comes back on.
I'd be dead.
Because between
It's
Target and Walmart, you'd be done.
That's right. And Yocheved Hamnick says, Ma, all your kids are listening to this. And that, I think, brings us to, well, 2 last things that I wanted to talk about, but let's just jump to Mother's Day. Today was Mother's Day. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. You're here. We're celebrating Mother's Day. This is weird. We gave the rabbis a day off for Mother's Day so that the can come in and do the work on the show. But you're here because we're honoring you for Mother's Day. So how did your families honor you for Mother's Day? What happened today? How'd that go?
I'll start. My husband got me a lot of gifts. He got me a new set of pajamas that are now going to be my daytime pajamas. They're going to be my Zoom pajamas because they're a little bit more sneeze than my other pajamas. So I think they're perfect for when I get caught by my kids' teachers on Zoom. But then I basically locked myself in my room. I didn't come out until 5 p.m. And then I got yelled at by my children, like, what were you doing all day? And I'm like, I wasn't being around you. Like, that was kind of the point. Like, the one Mother's Day, isn't that meant for you to just like detach and like forget about them?
Not
And
be a
like,
mother.
you didn't make me smoothies. And I'm like, you're right. And you're not going to get one. And that was that. And it was, honestly, it was a great day. It rained all day. They couldn't even go in the pool. It was fine. Good day.
Great. Happy Mother's Day. And
Thanks so
Naama?
So actually, in between when we had our little meeting and supper time, my children organized a car parade. A car parade. They took all the little cars that we have for the babies, the little tricycles, the little wheelie ones, and the little things, and they all went in them and they wrote little pieces of paper. We have, our mom is number one, and they did a whole parade, and they said that they did this, so I have something to say on the show tonight.
So, in other words, they just did a PR stunt
Yeah.
to get them shown in a positive light. Here's
No,
what
but
I think is
they thought that I would feel like a nebuch, that if I had
was
nothing
nice
to
of them.
say. So it was very, very nice of them. It really, really was.
I don't remember what you said when we were talking about it before the show, but you didn't seem to have anything negative to say about how Mother's Day went. So
No,
but
it wasn't bad. Last night they cleaned up the kitchen for me, which was amazing.
right, that's what you said.
Yes, they cleaned up the kitchen, but it seems to be like teacher appreciation. The lady down our block is a teacher, and like her whole class came with cars and papers and balloons, and it was like so much noise. And they said, "Oh, we want to make you one also." So they did.
I think it's awesome that they made a car parade when everybody in the parade was in the same house and didn't need to be separate.
Well, it was little cars in the dining room.
Yes, exactly. So it used to be that we were trying to take all the party stuff that we were doing pre-quarantine and bring it into the quarantine era that we're in now. And they're taking the quarantine era and they're bringing it into the, we don't even need to be in quarantine, but we're going to do this anyway.
Amazing.
It's beautiful. Reva, Mother's Day, how'd that go?
So the beginning of the day sucked, the big one. So I hope all my kids heard that. It did. It sucked, the big one.
I'm looking for the
Until
comments.
I finally opened up my eye at I opened up at 8:30 and nothing was happening. And I opened up at 9:30 and finally I decided to grab my phone. And then I saw on WhatsApp that my kids put together this amazing video of wishing me happy Mother's Day with all my grandchildren. It started with my oldest child in Far Rockaway and my next one in Brooklyn and my next one around the corner, but we're quarantined again. And then I started coming out of my depression and saying, okay, so there's these cute little kids that love me, even though their parents are prompting them to say, so you love your grandma? Love you, grandma. What does she do for you? I don't know. What about what she does for you every morning? Oh yeah, love you, grandma. But really, it was very, very sincere. My kids love me to pieces. And so I got this great video and then
she froze.
my two kids at home. So I'm like, honey, what are you buying? What are you ordering? So then they ordered us dinner. So that was nice. But the video was absolutely amazing.
So nice.
So
everybody's kids were nice to them, but I want to come back to that car parade that you had, because this is now the trend. Somebody has a birthday, they have a Zoom party and or a car parade. Zoom parties, I don't know about you, but to me, the most awkward moments in a person's life where everybody's just on screen and they're sitting there looking at each other, looking who's going to talk, whose turn is it to talk? And then the birthday person doesn't know what to do. We went to one, you know who you are. I don't want to mention names, Alana, that it was her birthday and she got a Zoom party, a surprise Zoom party and a surprise car parade. And both were at the same time. So she kept on going back and forth, front yard, back to the computer, front yard, back to the computer. Oh, hi, it's so nice to see you. And look who's outside. And everybody's just looking at each other like, yeah, I don't know what to say, don't know what to do. And now, Shira, you're planning a drive-by. Oops, Sharon.
Well, yeah, if we're still in quarantine by July, my son has a mane down to his tuchus and he turns 3 in July. And I'm just thinking, if we are the drivers and everybody just sticks their scissors out, they're standing on their lawn and they just stick their scissors out, we can just drive by and have everybody just take snips from their front lawn.
So from a safety perspective, if running with scissors is frowned upon, what would holding scissors out the window of the car as you drive by a 3-year-old be considered?
Yeah, I didn't say it was a good idea. I just said it's something we've thrown out there that if in July we're still there because we're just, I mean, we were thinking about doing it Lag Omer, even though he's not 3 yet, because I guess it's a thing. Even, I don't even know if upsharing is even a real thing, but we were thinking of cutting on Lag Omer, but now that we're still in quarantine, we're going to wait until
Right.
July.
You never know. Well, we're going to start winding down. I want to thank you for being with us tonight. This was probably the most fun show that I've had so far. And I know Weinstock is going to yell at me for saying that because it's the first show he wasn't on, but had nothing to do with the fact that Rabbi Weinstock wasn't on. It just has to do with the fact that we had a breath of fresh air, something new, bringing in the Rebbetzins instead of the rabbis. It was really nice. And you did get a response to the question from the question about whether a mask would be required in rehab. Selena did get back on and she says, Rebbetzins in rehab will be their vacation away from it all. Post-COVID pandemic, when we are finally out of quarantine, no masks required.
Yay.
Now, I don't know if I know Selena. I'm terrible with names. I might know Selena. Do I know Selena?
We know Selena. We know Selena.
I know Selena.
Okay, well.
She's one of Kathy's best friends.
Oh, okay. That's my cousin. Selena, you're practically related to me. Selena, I like Selena, I gotta say, because the truth is we are not dealing with 3 or 4 alcoholics here in this party. We're dealing with 3 or 4 very cool, very level-headed people who are taking on 21st century Judaism with the occasional sip of wine. It's not all we're making it out to be. Let's take an occasional sip of wine right now.
L'chaim, l'chaim. We are, I promise you, my children, we're really not alcoholics. We just play one on TV.
All right. Stanley Herzig says, he says weed whacker. I think he's talking about the scissors out the window, which could be a good way to edge the lawn.
I hope so.
And Yocheved Hamnick says, go Rebbetzins, nice job. So even though your kids are listening, Riva, it looks like you didn't embarrass them too much. Anybody have any final thoughts before we say goodnight and tell everybody what's happening next week?
As a Rebbetzin, I bless you all with good health, sanity, get through this, and God willing, we'll all be together again in Young Israel, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale with our rabbis. L'chaim.
In Yerushalayim.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Avi.
All right.
Thank you, Avi.
And next week, I mean, I'm really pleased that we didn't say anything too much to get us in trouble, anything too controversial. But if that didn't happen this week, it will definitely happen next week. Next week is a show that I've been looking forward to for a couple weeks now. The name of the show is, well, obviously Rabbis in Quarantine Getting Coffee, but the title of the show for that night is an Orthodox rabbi, a Reform rabbi, and a conservative rabbi walk into a Zoom meeting. That's correct. We're going to have an Orthodox rabbi, Rabbi Weinstock, a conservative rabbi, Rabbi Watstein from Weston, who I haven't met yet, and a Reform rabbi, Rabbi Hallie Needleman, who I was on the march with last year, who I absolutely love. And they are all going to rag on their own and each other's denominations of Judaism. Be sure to tune in. There will be a lot of people get very angry at our religion next week. But for right now, it's just toasting the Rebbetzins. Happy Lag BaOmer, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
So much.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for being with us.
You, Naama and Shira. God bless you all.
Have a great night.
Amen.
And we are